Tiger Woods releases a statement Tuesday morning. Today is Tuesday, right? Yes, it is Tuesday morning, where he says he has informed the USGA that he will not, I repeat, will not be competing in the U.S. Open. His body, quote, needs more time to get stronger for major championship golf, ends quote. He does indeed plan to play the JP McManus Pro-Am and the Open Championship next month. Coach, this is seemingly a calculated recovery time for Tiger to give him his best chance to win at St. Andrews.
Yeah, and it's smart. And I said this here on the show a couple of weeks ago that none of us want to see a Tiger Woods that looked like what he did at Southern Hills for the weekend. It's a great story that he can make the cut, but that's not what Tiger Woods is. That's not who he is. That's not how he has built his legacy of arguably the greatest golfer of all time. Is not just showing up and gutting it out and making a cut and saying, hey, look at me. That's not who Tiger Woods is. So this is a smart decision. Let your body recover. Go to a place that is relatively flat next month. Play in that event prior to it. See how your body feels. And I believe that's what Tiger's going to have to do moving forward with all of the major championships. But for this one, smart play.
Coach, or excuse me, Mark, with the way that what we know about Tiger and his body and the schedule of major championships and where we might be heading in the future, this upcoming Open Championship at St. Andrews likely marks one of the best opportunities for Tiger to potentially get another. Now those odds still might be very small, but I think that statement might be true.
Oh yeah, I'm completely on board with that, Rick. In fact, when we were opining on his comeback late last year, early this year, whenever it was, all the time we were doing it, I would have bet my mortgage on the fact that his return to competitive golf would have been St. Andrews for the 150th. He's won there twice. I mean, there were just so many reasons why that would be the perfect place for Tiger, let alone the fact that the golf course is an easy walk. You travel out, you come back in. It's fairly flat, and it's easily traversable, and there's humps and lies. So, I mean, to this day, I'm still marginally flabbergasted that he came back and played well for a little while at the Masters. I thought he did the same thing there at Tulsa, where eventually the walk just caught up with him. And so I think this is smart. I think he's now realized it's not just the difference between tournament golf and practicing, if you will, and not just the physical demands, but the emotional and the mental rigors that it puts on one. And, 5-6 rounds of golf at a major championship venue wears you out mentally. And then if you've got a gimpy body on top of that, you just feel like you're completely beaten by week's end. I mean, I can speak to the not very taxing job that I have, where I walk around a course with a microphone. By Sunday evening after a major championship, I'm done. Monday, I'm completely whipped when you're traveling home. So I can imagine what it's like walking on a bum leg with a tender back and all this kind of stuff that he has. So I think taking this US Open is a good idea. He knows what he's able to do now. And so now it's a question of obviously getting stronger, but looking forward to a place that's going to do his body some favors if there is such a place.
Yeah, and Tiger kind of bridges a couple of our storylines here, KP. So no Tiger for the U.S. Open, focusing on the Open Championship. That seems to be gaining a lot of positive momentum. Okay, Big Cat, come back, be healthy, give us one more crack at it. And then, of course, the news from Greg Norman that Tiger Woods turned down a, quote, mind-blowing offer to join LIV Golf. Norman would go on to say it was in the high 9 figures, which by my math is like more than 500 million. All right, mid 9 figures. That's like 500 mil. High 9 figures seems higher than that. Not even close to $1 billion could lure Tiger Woods to LIV Golf.
Yeah, there's a lot going on there. I think one of the things I was thinking about this yesterday, actually, as I was playing, Tiger's always been a lot more conservative than Phil as a golfer, right? And I think that even just sort of how he views the world, he's just he doesn't take a ton of risks. And so I think it makes sense that Phil would be doing this and Tiger would not. And then I think the other thing is, if Tiger, let's say Tiger's promised $600 million, just throw that number out there, but you have to play 8 times a year. I mean, even I know they're Shotgun Star, 54-hole events, whatever. Like, I just don't know that he can physically sign up for that right now. And I mean, I think in the fallow times for Tiger when he wasn't playing, there were rumors of like, does he need money? Like, is he able to sustain this lifestyle that he's built up for however many years based on what he's earned? I had heard some kind of rumblings around that. And so I thought that was interesting, but I just don't think he needs the amount of money that they're offering for what he had to give them, which is 8 weeks, 10 weeks, 15 weeks a year of playing. Cause I just don't think he's physically capable of doing that.
Would he have had to do that though? I mean, do you not think, Kyle, that Tiger could have said to them, hey, if I just show up, that would be enough for what you guys need? Would he have to play
just like physically be there?
Brand ambassador.
Like he's handing out the trophy at the end of the week?
Yeah, just showing up.
I don't know. I mean,
if they were going to $100 million to Jack Nicklaus to be the face, he wasn't going to play.
That's the point that I was going to make there. If they prepared to go to $100 million to get Jack just to endorse the thing, that tells me they're looking for gravitas behind the idea. And Tiger just amps that to a different level, obviously, because Jack, he's 18-time major champion, arguably the greatest of all time, but he's nearly 80 years old, if not 80, I think it is. Where Tiger, you've got a guy who's late 40s, he would be the perfect ambassador. And if they've got these deep pockets that now we're understanding they do, why not do it? But more importantly, we need to recognize Kyle for using the word fellow. I mean, this is top class, Kyle. Good job.
He had a day off and he was able to re-energize and rejuvenate the vocabulary.
Man,
I think the other thing is that Tiger has a bunch of different business ventures that are already existing that doing something like this could sort of not desecrate, but just sort of like mess up, like, does this affect his golf course design venture? And a lot of these other guys, DJ and whoever, they don't have those ventures to worry about. And I think Tiger clearly believes he's not the guy that you're like, oh, he's going to take like a leap and I think people sort of want him to be that guy at times of like the risk taker and the gunslinger and whatever. And he's just not that person. He's not that golfer and he's not that person. And so I'm not surprised by that decision.
I think there are, Rick, two words that I heard today that, to be honest with you, I didn't even thought about. And that's the Ryder Cup. And DJ was asked directly about it. Hey, now that you're doing this, you are no longer eligible to play in the Ryder Cup. And to me, that's a big carrot. If you're talking about the big cat, well, he's going to be a Ryder Cup captain. That's coming down the chute. Would he have given that up for any amount of money? I don't know. That's a big question.
Coach, I hear you there, because I didn't consider it this morning until 7:35 a.m. either when it came out. But I want to just jump in on the back of what Kyle said, which I think is very astute, in that Tiger's entire career, he was sort of bred and trained to be very cognizant of what's happening around him.
The world, yeah.
And to not put a foot wrong mentally or when he speaks or whatever the case might be, because that was going to help him to just stay the course, because it's so easy. It would have been so easy, and we saw that with him, to get pulled off track. And that's where his dad bred him. So Tiger was very much externally focused, yet somehow he could go internal when he was playing golf. Phil, on the other hand, you'd walk into a room and Phil was all about me. He's like, I'm the guy here. And DJ apparently too. He's like, I don't care about the Ryder Cup, because give me my 125 mil and let me go sailing off into the sunset, which he's probably going to do. So I think there's a lot of this, how they bred stuff coming out too. And that may be some of the reason why, to Kyle's point, that, maybe he just, he said to them, there's no amount of money that you guys can give me to become involved over here for the potential ramifications.